Okay, so now I'm going to add a time picker to my user interface. Eventually, we want this sprinkler to run in automatic mode, so you don't have to start it every time, and so we want the system to be aware of what time it should start. So we're going to add a clock that our user can edit. So I'm going to go to my palette and drag in a text input. We're going to customize this into our clock. I'm going to give it a new group. Call this group controls. Oops. Add a new group. Call it controls. I'm going to give it a width of 16 units. I'm going to give my text input a size of 3 by 1. For a label, call it start time. Tooltip will be a little more descriptive. We'll say start time for sprinkler when it is in automatic mode. And we have an option for time picker, which is what we want. And we'll just give this lastly a name of time picker. Done. And if I'm going to deploy my changes, you'll see that I now have a time picker on here. It's not incredibly clear what it is. If you click on it, you'll see option to put an hour and minute and something here. But what we're going to do is we're going to put in a placeholder time to make it more clear that this is in fact a clock. So I'll go back to my palette and say I'd like to add an inject node. And we're going to say payload type is number. And what we're adding here is the payload in milliseconds, which we're going to pass to that clock. So the number of milliseconds we want is actually 4, 3, 2, and then I believe it's 5 zeros. We can check this. We're going to say inject once. And we'll give this useful name, call it placeholder start time. And I'm going to connect the output of my injection node to the input of my time picker. Oh, and it looks like I got the number of milliseconds wrong. Let's add another 0 here. There we go, 12 o'clock p.m. Okay, the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to store our start time, whether the placeholder or whatever our user changes it to. We're going to store that in a global variable so the rest of our sprinkler system is aware of it. So I'm going to add a change node. And configure it, say capture start time variable. It's a variable I'm about to create. And we have one rule here. We want to say set global variable that we're calling start time to whatever we're receiving in message payload. And then we're going to connect our time picker, which if you follow this along, our placeholder is being sent to our time picker, and then the value that's in there is being sent to our start time variable. Let's deploy. Receive a success message. And if you go here, you can see that our start time, we're able to change that.